So what's absolutely key in terms of increasing liquidity as well is our partnerships. So we have Securitize in the US, we have Archax in the UK, we have Deutsche Telekom in Germany, we have SBI Holdings joint venture in Japan. And I think the key message about those partnerships is that they are highly regulated entities, and that's what we're really pushing for.
Hello everyone, and welcome to the XDC MENA Podcast, where we talk about blockchain, technology, innovation, projects, and of course, the XDC Network. Joining us today is none other than Angus O'Callaghan, who leads XDC Markets team. Angus, welcome to the podcast. And yes, first question, please tell us about yourself, your background, what do you do, and what interests you to XDC Network?
Perfect. Thank you, Rebecca. It's a pleasure to be here. So a bit about my background. We'll go chronologically, shall we?
Sure.
So I studied economics before cutting my teeth on the equity trading floor at Morgan Stanley. I then went into FX at what is now part of the London Stock Exchange Group before moving back into the equity trading floor at Deutsche Bank. So my crypto world, my digital asset experience, I got into 2015. Crypto was my first venture, but I took the full deep dive into digital assets and Web3 in 2018. Since then, I've never looked back, and it's been quite the ride. I've worked at some of the largest property developers in the world, looking at real estate tokenization. I've worked for multiple exchanges, private equity funds, and now I've got the pleasure of working with XDC. So I had the pleasure of meeting Atul and then the wider team. I was incredibly impressed by their passion and commitment for the project across the board. I was fortunate to meet, the senior leadership team who I was very impressed by. A lot who have been involved in the project from the very start. Because in Web3, people seem to jump around quite a lot. One thing I have seen at XDC is that everyone seems to have been here pretty much from the start. And when people come in, they don't seem to leave. So that's got to be a good thing.
Wow, what a very great career history that you have. And thank you for sharing how you met Atul and how you got involved to the XDC network. Now, as someone who looks closely on the market trends, right? Blockchain has completely always evolves, right?
Yeah.
So what are the market trends that you think that is most relevant to XDC, and how do you think that will help XDC evolve in the crypto space?
So interestingly, I professionally have been in Web3 since 2018, around the same launch date as XDC Network.
Correct.
So quite interesting that we're about the same age. So I've been focused on tokenization, and so has XDC from the very start. The network itself was built around tokenization, real-world assets, trade finance, payments, all the stuff that in 2018, 2019 didn't seem to be possible at the time. Fast forward to 2014, that's a whole different game now. Everyone realizes that tokenization is going to be the future of finance. And if we look at the largest asset managers in the world, the largest banks in the world, the largest corporations, they're all very active in blockchain technology, looking at how they can improve their processes, reduce costs, and increase the velocity of their capital.
So yeah, I totally agree with you with the market trend of tokenizing RWA. It has been there, and I think it will not go away. So I think it's worth mentioning XDC Network. Tokenizing RWA is one of its foundational use case. So yes, market trend is just one piece of the puzzle. I think another important part or crucial part is having the liquidity. And liquidity is very important to keep the network growth and stability, wherein it gives confidence, market confidence, and it attracts new investors. So Angus, tell us what is your plans with the markets team in terms of enhancing XDC Network's liquidity?
Absolutely. Exactly as you say, markets need to be liquid in order to be useful. So the XDC Markets team specifically is a team of 3 and experts. So one of the team is a 30-year banking veteran, one is a 20-year lawyer, both very well connected in the Web3 space and also the traditional finance space. So bridging that gap between Web2 and Web3 is absolutely key for XDC. And it's not just, and whilst we're predominantly based in London as the markets team, the XDC network itself is very decentralized. And that's very beneficial to us because we have teams in the US, in Canada, in LATAM, in the UK, in Europe. In the UAE, we have a large presence, as we know, as we're here. Also, we have India, Southeast Asia.
Right.
We have a massive business in Japan and Australia. So it's very key that we have global coverage, and that we are here as a markets team to support and enhance that liquidity on a global basis. So if we look at where XDC is now, we're listed on some of the best exchanges. We're listed on 46 exchanges in total. But exchange listings is only one part of the puzzle. Bringing liquidity, both organic liquidity, but also making sure that you have a fair and orderly market on the exchanges in which you are listed. So that when your users go to exchange and XDC for fiat or for another digital asset itself, there needs to be a liquid market there. That's why with XDC, we're working with the best market makers in the business. That includes Cumberland, that includes GSR, that includes BTC2. So our market makers are absolutely instrumental in making sure that there is liquidity on these exchanges so that when our clients want to trade XDC, there is a market there for them 24/7.
All right. So yeah, it's a perfect strategy that you have not only for investors, but also for the retails. As you mentioned, XDC is listed with a lot of exchanges. So yes, to the next question, what do you think is the key features that XDC has that attracts investors?
Absolutely. So, I mean, it's one of the most secure, reliable, fastest networks out there. And that's in the current state that we're in. And it's quite pertinent that we're having this conversation today because this coming Monday, so no matter when you're watching this, so this will be the 30th of September, we will be launching to XDC 2.0, which will be the biggest protocol upgrade so far. And the benefits of that are that we'll be going to 2,000 transactions per second with a 6-second finality. And that's just one of the additions. There will also be XDC subnets, which will effectively mean that clients can come, use the XDC network, but in a private and secure way. So it's as if it's their own private blockchain. They will have data sovereignty and full security and privacy so that they can use the blockchain for their own purposes without it being visible to the outside world. So that's very useful. And in addition to that, there'll be XDC 0. And XDC 0 is effectively the interoperability solution between sublets. So you will be able to transact seamlessly between alternative blockchains without having to worry about who you're interacting with. Especially important for example, supply chain management, where your suppliers may be on different blockchains and you're using XDC, you shouldn't have to worry about what blockchain they're on.
Right. Those are really great features that XDC has. And yes, XDC is quite fast and scalable compared to the other networks. And it certainly attracts a lot of investors, not just institution, but also with the retail. So yeah, active participation from the investors or for the liquidity is really important. So what you and your team or the markets team has in place in terms of the long-term vision? Please tell us the roadmap.
Yes, absolutely. So the roadmap, we want to get listed on additional exchanges, especially some of the larger exchanges. And those negotiations are very mature now. They've been going on for some time. And a lot of them are actually in the onboarding stage already. So they should be going live in the very near future. In addition to that, we have already some of the best protocols and dApps running on the XDC network. But it's where do you grow from there? That is the absolute key. What's the next step? So we have an incredible in-house incubation lab, which I have a cohort, which I've been through, is really, really quite impressive. But in addition to that, we're also engaged with some of the best external incubators. So that's Tenity, Foundation, Plug and Play, Launchpool. Absolutely excellent names, and the projects that are coming out of them, the innovation is incredible. And they're all building on XDC. So that's the pipeline. And the more people that build on XDC, the more people that will demand XDC. And that will just drive liquidity across the board. Yeah, so in addition to obviously the exchanges bringing projects on board, at the moment, if we look at the XDC holders, they're predominantly retail actually. And XDC has never actually taken external VC money. It's been organically grown, which is incredible for the size of the project to have never had external funding from that perspective. But institutional money, especially in 2024 where we are, they are engaged in digital assets in a very, very strong way. So we have a strong internal network, and we will be engaging with these real money. So this is institutional clients, wealth managers, family offices, but also leveraging our partners. So we have Securitize in the US, as I mentioned. We've got Archax, we've got SBI, we've got our market makers. They have some of the best clients in the world. We need to get XDC engaged with them as much as anything. And that's just on the institutional side. But retail is also absolutely pertinent to our success. So this is why we're also engaging with some of the largest retail trading platforms, some of them which have in excess of 30 million users. So we're in negotiations to have XDC listed there, which will be a massive driver of demand for the XDC token. In addition to that, we're also looking at more innovative solutions and ways that it's easier for people to get hold of XDC or exposure to XDC in that way. So not everyone is a crypto native. Not everyone is comfortable holding a wallet or going on a crypto exchange. So we are also looking at exchange traded products. So ETPs and ETFs, exchange traded products and exchange traded funds. These would be listed on traditional exchanges, which anyone could go into their normal retail account, so their Charles Schwab account, for example, and buy an XDC ETP, which would give them the underlying exposure to the XDC token. And that's useful for both retail and both institutional, because some institutional investors at the moment, their risk and compliance teams have not got comfortable with holding tokens at the moment. But if they were holding a regulated fund or a regulated listed product, the underlying asset may be XDC, but it's much easier for them to invest in because they're already probably listed on that exchange. They already have the connectivity. Their custodian can hold it in the exact same way that they can with any other of their funds.
Big names that you mentioned out there, a lot of big partnerships, big institution. And thank you for sharing your roadmap of the markets team and XDC in general. So I'm pretty sure that the community will be thrilled to see these plans come into life. A lot of eyes will be looking at your progress and also the results. And as a community member, I genuinely look forward to your success. Right?
Fantastic.
So in case there is investors who want to be part of this exciting journey with XDC Network, how can we find you?
Well, as I said, we are listed on 46 exchanges globally. So you should be able to engage there, but we'll put a link in the description below.
Right.
which will have the list of exchanges with all our details as well. So as much as anything, you can see exactly everything about XDC. It's a great website with lots of detail. And you can understand more about XDC, because unfortunately we don't have time today to go through the breadth and depth and the excellence that XDC is. So yeah, we're listed on exchanges. We're easy to find. We're very liquid. So yeah, welcome.
All right. Thank you so much, Angus, for sharing us your insights to this podcast. And before we end the podcast, any last message to the community members that are watching?
Yeah, absolutely. The future is bright. There's some really good stuff coming down the pipeline. So keep eyes peeled.
That's very short but sweet. All right, Angus, thank you so much. And for the viewers out there, any relevant links will be listed under the description of the video. So yes, thank you again for being part of the podcast. And for everyone out there who wants to know more about XDC Network, please visit www.zinfin.org. And for any forum, please participate to the discussion by logging into www.xdc.dev. So yes, Rebecca here as the host, telling you keep exploring, keep learning until the next episode. Paalam!